welcome to DawnNews English. We're 20 minutes. Today we're discussing regarding the repatriation of the illegal immigrants in Pakistan, a policy that had been adopted by the caretaker set up in Pakistan, setting a deadline of November 1st for all those who are illegally residing in Pakistan to return back to their countries, a bigger chunk of them being from Afghanistan. We discuss all of this and the issues and the criticism related to this policy with former Ambassador Ayaz Wazir. Thank you so much for joining us. Ayaz Sahab, first, I would like you to comment on this policy itself. Do you think this is productive to send the illegal immigrants back to their countries and allow them to, get their official documents before they re-enter Pakistan?
Well, I think the decision is made in haste. It is not properly looked at because these Afghans, let's talk about Afghans because the other aliens are, these Afghans have today without documents for years, for decades of them. The migration of Afghans started in three steps, I would say. The first one was when the Soviet invaded. The second one was when the Mujahideen started fighting between them, in which they turned Kabul into a ruin, Kanrat bana diya. So second stage was that, and the third was when the Taliban now took over. So in these three steps, they have come here. Pakistan was not unaware of it. It was aware. And the first step, rather, we welcomed. If you recall, when Zia was in power then, he welcomed the refugees without checking their documents when they continued because there was no problem of that at that time. Anyway, it's a long story. I'll not go into it. I said it's a policy made in haste. I wish every aspect of it was taken into account. Look at other countries. Those who have remained, say almost, if one is avoiding to use the word enemy, opponent to the system in Afghanistan, like the Soviet, like the Indian, they were against it for quite some time. They are now trying to be friends with the Afghans. And where we spend decades, more than 4 decades, looking after the refugees, the Afghan problem. Now we are ourselves trying to turn this asset into a liability. It should have been weighed that way. Now, the Pakistani law, as far as I know, says that a child born in Pakistan of any national born here in Pakistan automatically becomes a citizen of Pakistan. Now, some of these Afghans are living with you for more than 40 years. It's their second or third generation even. And many youngsters who were born and brought up here, educated here, they do not know anything about Afghanistan. They know only one place, and that is Pakistan, where they were raised, and now they are pushed to go to Afghanistan. Now, this is a violation of our own law, leave alone the international law or whatever other rules and regulations are. So it is made in a haste, and as the Prime Minister said, they a few days back in a presser that the Taliban in Afghanistan, since they were not listening to our repeated requests to take care of the TTP decision to send these people back. Now, okay, send it back, but have you created a space for you in Afghanistan or narrowed that space for yourself?
I do understand what you're saying regarding the Pakistani law, the human rights, the number of years that they have spent in Afghanistan, the generations that has not even witnessed what Afghanistan looks like, because for them, Pakistan has been their country since they are born and bred here. But we have two problems over here. The current caretaker setup, on one hand, says that the number of terrorist attacks in Pakistan, and I do remember the presser conducted by the caretaker interior minister saying from January till I guess last month, the number of terrorist attacks, nearly half of them or more than half of them have been conducted or where involvement of these Afghan nationals have been found. Now, this is something which has to be seriously addressed. So that is one of the reasons that they believe that all those who are illegal should just go back to their country. And the second one that you spoke about the caretaker prime minister saying that they haven't been listening to our demands, and which of course is controlling the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan.
Well, true. I'm not saying that the interior minister was wrong or the prime minister wrong. They have their point, but how many enemies you have within the country and even outside? The outside and inside, wouldn't they avail any opportunity coming their way? They can bribe or they can pay or they can use against you. Journalist just 2 hours back, he claimed, according to him, he claimed that the Indian intelligence was using Afghans against us. The Afghan intelligence, the Indian intelligence, way back when they were hunky-dory in Afghanistan, they trained some Afghanis to work against Pakistan, carry on these bomb blasts over here. Now, if they are involved, I'm not saying that the Afghans are not involved, but the involved Afghans are not from those who were living with you as refugees. They may have been brought, one or two from within the refugee may have been used, but nobody stops you to punish them, to crush them who is doing anything against you within your country or coming from outside into your country. And look around, what is happening within the country? You have so many rules. If you apply them correctly, the law, these things can be really taken care of. You have, mashallah, a very strong army, you have a very strong police, you have other forces. Why can't we look after ourselves within the country to deny the Indian law or the Afghan intelligence way back when they were trying to harm us? That is our responsibility. Within the country, security, provision of security is our own responsibility. I'm not denying that the Indian or the Afghans or anybody else who wants to harm us is not doing it. They would be doing, they'll be doing in future also. But for that, we have to be strong enough, we have to be ready, we have to be alert, we have to deny them these facilities. But by kicking all these people out of the country, aren't you providing a further kind of ready-made material for them to be used against you? Such a big asset, if you ask me, in these Afghans, which you are turning into your enemies in Afghanistan.
So why are you considering them as an asset? In what aspect or what respect do you feel that these Afghans are an asset to Pakistan?
They have lived for country as their own country. They had their businesses here. They got married here. They have raised their children over here. They have benefited from you. Look, I'll give you my example. I have remained in foreign service in all those countries where I had my postings. I somehow love every country that I lived in. Not that they paid me or they looked after me for Vienna, but what if I had lived there as a refugee and I had earned there, I had got my family with me, education, everything, I would have become really a very, very friendly person to the Austrian, which I am still. People of the Afghans here, that you look, now you are throwing them out just within a period of 1 month. Is it humanly possible? Now, if I ask you tomorrow to sell your house, pack up your family within able to do it, impossible almost. Or if you do it, it will be like selling your property at a throwaway price. And then the next most important aspect of this repatriation is that those who have earned here or those who are selling their properties here, how are they going to take their money back take their money to Afghanistan? What are they going to do with that? There are so many things. There are lots of problems. Containers are still sitting in Karachi needing clearance. And now our biggest argument against the transit trade is that, well, the Afghans are importing items which are smuggled back into Pakistan. My
Yes.
argument is, those people who are supposed to Afghanistan or from Afghanistan into Pakistan, what are we doing then at the border? Is the border without, it's not manned, it's not, the concerned authorities are not there, then how come that the Afghans are capable to smuggle these goods so easily into Pakistan?
Okay. Now, because the
That
caretaker
means
prime
we,
minister has said very categorically regarding
yes,
TTP. I want to know, why is it that the government in Afghanistan is not actually taking those actions that Pakistan require them to take regarding TTP? Why are they supporting the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan?
look, every government or every country is looking after its interest first, then after the interest of our country. Look at your own country. When it was in your interest, you were keeping the Taliban here in your country, looking after them to fight. Then Karzai, they used to tell you every second day that please throw away these Taliban, they are our enemies, they are killing us. Americans were begging you to throw them out, kick them out, but it was since in your interest, you didn't do anything against them. Now, today, the Taliban are almost in Afghanistan. In your position, the Taliban are not recognized by any government. So they have no moral, material support, legally speaking, from the outside world. But somehow they are maintaining law and order within the country. It would be difficult for them to maintain law and order, leave alone the fact that these militants were their brothers in arms against the American and against the Soviets. Except that they are crossing the border, it's on what is our security then doing? What is our intelligence then doing? How come people can come, our enemies, so easily to harm us within the country? Borders, checking, controlling, that is our responsibility. The TTP is living there, I'm not denying it's there, shouldn't be there. But the argument, as I put, Afghan Taliban are standing behind and saying that, yes, these are our badmash, we have kept them, we want to harm you. That's another issue. But they say they were living there, or you pushed them in. Recall during Zarb-e-Azam, we pushed these people into Afghan. Now you want the Afghan to win, as I said, of interest of the government across and government here. So you can't say that since the Taliban are harming us, we kick these people. TTP is a different issue. Your relation with Afghanistan is a different issue.
Okay.
Muhajir or these refugees, they come into the bilateral relation with Afghanistan. TTP is your either internal or a separate issue, affects your relation with Afghanistan, but mainly concern you directly to maintain security.
But as far as my understanding is, as the government has put it, that we're not sending the refugees back. We're only sending those who are illegal immigrants, who had crossed the border, had been living here, had no papers, or had fake IDs of Pakistan.
I'm sorry. Look, they were refugees here. For so many years, they were not illegal without document. Now they have become illegal and without document. I'm not pleading their case that they should not be thrown out. Those without document, you have every right that such people stay here. International law, moral law, everything says, yes, you are right. But when you look at the matter in detail, then you tell yourself that, well, if I had not raised any objection on them for the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, what happens then? Now all of us, I discovered documents. Weren't they without care that they were living with you?
Okay. Lastly, I would want to ask you, now with this policy in place, how do you see the relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan?
Well, I'm afraid this definitely is going to affect your bilateral relations. The Taliban have reacted strongly. You have reacted strongly. This certainly is not going to contribute into the positive side of the relationship. I would be happy if someone from within Pakistan can give me one strong argument which says that by throwing these people out the way we did has benefited us in this way. Just give me one example that it goes in our favor. It all goes against our interest. I'm not privy to so many things the government knows, the government is doing. It may be in their interest or in their views, something which is for the benefit of the country. But looking at it from outside, I feel there, yes, without propagating it, giving such a big publicity. Look at Iran. Iran is also doing so, but it has slowed down. They also pushed some of the refugees back because they have recently developed some dispute with the Afghan water issue to put pressure on such a big publicity to it, like we did. We were beating drums that we are enemies of our own. My apologies.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us on 20 Minutes. And as we proceed, and we hope that our relationships are not going to get marred by this. And as you say that maybe this policy was made in haste and we could have done better on this front. Let's see how things shape up. You're absolutely right on this, that the delegation from the Afghan side is over here, the commerce side, and they have been demanding that there are a lot of containers that are sitting at the port in Karachi, some of them still here for the past year. And they need some sort of solution to all of this. That's all for now. Take care and goodbye.